Promise. And that promise was a con man story. But you gotta settle in, because this is gonna be a long one, and I was not ready to do minute parts. So sit back and relax. Let's set the mood, and let's begin. After college, I got accepted into an internship in Berlin. Berlin was the first time I had ever traveled internationally. And when I tell you I fell in love, I fell in love with Berlin. Berlin is where I found my soul. I had the time of my life. I partied my face off and worked with amazing people at Deutsche Telekom, which owns T-Mobile. Towards the end of my visit, I matched with somebody on Tinder and we met, and it was something that I didn't realize was going to change my life forever. His name was Fraser. I am legit shaking, so I apologize for the shoddy camera work. But Fraser was a 6'6" Scottishman that I met towards the end, the last week of me staying in Berlin. And it hit hard and fast. I was wrapped up in this dude. Now I am gonna show him because maybe another woman will see this and it will stop her from doing what I did. This is Fraser. He was incredibly charming. We spent the last week of December together, so we spent Christmas Eve together before I flew back to the US, and I was enraptured. He was one of the most, oh God, I can't even explain how good it was. A few months after I came home, my mom got really sick and I needed to move to California to take care of her. I talked to Fraser about this and he basically said, I'm gonna come help you. I'm gonna move from Berlin to California. I'm gonna get on a plane. When and where can I see you? His candle is really hitting. So I drove down from Portland and I met him in Bakersfield and hung out with him and a friend and his friend's family. And then we went to Joshua Tree and bonded and hung out before I had to go do the whole family thing. So my family loved him, adored him, and still kind of talk about him. And it was great. He supported me while I worked, and he took my mom to the hospital and to doctor's appointments, and he was with me all the way until the end. And by the end, I mean my mother's end. And after her funeral, about 6 months, I decided that I wanted to go travel Europe and I wanted to do it with him. Now, if you're still here, I'm pretty impressed. So we decided to pack both of my dogs up. One was mine and the other I inherited from my mother. And we flew to Amsterdam. We had a blast. We stayed there for a little bit and got ourselves settled, and we wanted to buy a van. But we zoomed around the city. It was insanely romantic and wonderful and amazing. Honestly, after losing my mom, it was everything I ever needed. I just needed to be a human again. So we bought this van and converted it in the streets of Amsterdam. We put we built a bed into the back, put a bunch of storage in, and we were off to travel Europe. And things were great. We were traveling, we were having a blast. We went all the way up. We went saw friends in Berlin. We went to Prague. We went to Italy, and then it started to turn. Hold tight. We have a few minutes left. Italy, it started to go bad. It started to go real bad. After we met up with his friends, things just weren't connecting anymore. We got into this massive fight on this lake in Italy, Lake Como. And I started to realize that normal people don't just get up and travel the world. And I think from behind my grief, I started to see all of those red flags. I, of course, ignored them because I was traveling with my dogs and my boyfriends in Italy, and it was amazing. But then we hit Spain. And Spain got really, really rough, to the point where he got violent. I'm a big girl, so it's pretty difficult to throw me, but he threw me across the patio. So that's when I decided to get the fuck out of there. I told him to take the van, to take the place we were staying, because we got a place at the beach. And I took my dog because the other one passed away, in the meanwhile. And I went back home. I ran back to California. Now, quite a bit of time passes between now and the next event. I came back to California, got my shit together, got my heart put back together, moved back to Portland to get my life back together. And then I got a call from him saying to meet him in Canada. And I went. Fully aware that wasn't a great decision, but I'm really, really, really glad I did. Hold tight. This is when it all comes together. So I went to Canada. I met him. We went to a hotel, stayed the night. We talked all night. And well, the next morning, I got a text from this beautiful human being. This is Elizabeth. She's like Sherlock Holmes. This text basically told me that he had stolen her credit card to buy the plane ticket to Canada as well as the hotel that we were currently staying in. So I confronted him and asked him what the fuck was going on. He responded with, "Oh, I don't know, nothing, blah, 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 blah," and then finally admitted it. So what did I do? I turned around and ran as fast as I could and never saw him again. But the following week was pretty eventful. The last part is coming. The last, being the wonderful human being that she is, we are now very close, understandably. Looked up everything he'd ever told her. Found through voter registration in Scotland where his mother lived. Went to his house. Found out through his family that he had been a con man his entire life. That he had a son entering college. That every story he'd ever told me was a complete and utter lie. She reached out to the entire internet. I found out that he had been meeting girls throughout Europe, getting money from them, and then ditching them and continuing to travel with me. He was a piece of fucking shit and a liar. And I was with him for 2 years. 2 years. Now, I will say that I do appreciate what he did for my mother because she loved him and he took very good care of her. But what you did to me and all of those other women, fuck you. Fuck you, Fraser. I can't